Because Jelly Roll was just out here with Post Malone, I think, at Allegiant.
Last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was last week.
That looked good too. Everybody said it was good.
Yeah.
Another dude that went from rapping to country, huh?
Yeah.
It's another dude that went from rapping to country, huh?
Crossover though.
Oh, Post.
Post.
Yeah, me neither.
I liked his his Stony album like that.
But did you watch his original music?
Oh, yeah.
Way
He was
back?
like
He's a
straight
weirdo.
pop. Oh, yeah. But weirdos are always the one that get that break.
I almost forgot Post Malone went from rapper to.
I almost forgot Post Malone.
Oh, you know about Jelly Roll?
Post Malone was
talking
like
about Jelly Roll.
he was before a rapper. Before a rapper he was
Yeah, I
like
forgot.
a
Sustenance.
pop artist.
Yeah.
Before a rapper he was
He
like
like the weird electronic music, right?
Yeah.
He did like the weird
It's
electronic
Memphis
music,
to the
right?
I thought that was like trolling. Wasn't that?
I thought it was like
No, it was actual
I thought
video
it was
of
like
him.
trolling. Wasn't
Bro,
that
but
trolling?
Jelly Roll. So Jelly Roll, yeah, he was trying to like debut, I guess, as like a hip hop rapper type artist, but he has country roots. He's from Tennessee.
Yeah, from the Midwest.
He grew up on country, so that's his stuff. And
He
his
rapped for a long time though. Like he rapped before.
He rapped for a long time,
Yeah.
though. Like he rapped before
story,
prison
though.
and everything too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's always about the
And then
story.
he
like,
raps
the story
throughout
is good,
prison.
like,
Yeah.
Post
Oh, yeah,
Malone
definitely.
story, Jelly Roll story.
Yeah,
Like,
He looks like he's a country guy. Oh, is he not
Oh,
country?
yeah.
Small looking at the system. Right now.
I feel so small
Yeah,
looking at
that's
this Cisco
my
right now.
Right? He looks country though. He looks
Post.
looks like a straight hillbilly from the
Yeah.
hood.
With all the face tats, he
Post?
looks like a hillbilly to you.
Bro, he
I
looks
thought
like
so.
he looks like
He looks like a hillbilly to you?
brewing fucking liquor in the back.
yeah, his making moonshine.
bootlegging whiskey.
Moonshine.
He pulls it off. He pulls it off.
First thing he
Some
do,
running-
wake up,
he's a
cigarettes
runner?
and Bud Lights, huh?
Cigarette, coffee, and whiskey.
Yeah.
And a Michelob Ultra.
Cigarette, coffee, and whiskey.
Meth.
Fuck, I had a high school teacher that said his bread was so
Hit a
stink,
meth.
bro. Cigarettes and alcohol and smell like coffee.
PE teacher.
Mr. Taga.
Damn.
Remember his name still?
Mr. Taga, if you're out
Brushy
there.
teeth.
Yeah.
Oh, bro.
Taga's still alive.
Is there any
I don't
chance
know, all
Mr.
the
Taga's
cigarettes
still
he
alive?
smoked.
Oh, yeah, definitely died from throat
That was
cancer.
in the days when you could smoke. He used to just smoke right in the back of the class. That was in the days when you could. Bro, was nuts, bro.
What school you in, bro?
Little whore.
Oh, that's why.
Fuck, he was on chain smoker even at when we was
If
at
he does,
school.
he's burping his words like, hey, Raleigh.
Oh no, it's real raspy. Like
with the little
the catcher
controller
was
next to it.
like that
Sorry,
raspy
guys, I didn't
sound.
know you guys had it on here.
He's an auto
Everyone's
shop teacher. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
How was Holo Holo, Cisco?
Oh, it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing. Kind of windy, but I mean, we can't control the thing, but it was dope. UB40 did their thing, Boog, Comic Kings.
That was supposed to be the hottest ticket, right? Was that Saturday night
Oh,
ticket?
Saturday was dope. Saturday was dope, and then Sunday came. We had Steel Pulse, but man, it's always a good time at Holo Holo. That's when all the friends and family comes from everywhere and ask for tickets for that particular event. But Holo Holo was good.
I asked Sisu, I said, bro, they limited on my list. You got like 2 extra tickets. He's like, bro, I got like 100 of my Poly family flying in right now. Can't give you no ticket.
Guys, go to holoholofestival.com and buy your tickets.
How did this year's Holo Holo compare to?
It's because there's always
in the
new
past?
stuff like off the stage. So we had like an activation with Island Avenue, Island City Media. So it was dope. They were doing podcasting during. So it was good to see the growth outside of the stage. So that was dope to see this year. And it was always good to see the artists. Like Stan Walker was the standout for a lot of people that haven't seen Stan Walker because he's like coming up the ranks where, you know, he's real, the Maori type chants, like real chicken skin type performance. So I think his performance kind of stood out to me because, you know, I'm always doing shows with the boys and, you know, Comic Kings and Boog and all that, which is always a good time. But to see somebody like Stan come in this lineup where it's not, you know, everyone's kind of like happy, but it's like real feel, you know, real goosebumps type shit. So Stan Walker was definitely a treat. Plus we had Jay Taj pop out. I had him pop out during me and what Tavares said. We had Desi Hollow. So I try to bring the other elements that are not already island reggae. So I try to bring like the up and coming hip hop guys and try to just, you know, coincide and, you know, put them in the mix. Because it's always a good time to have somebody. You got island reggae all day with the artists. So me and Wastafa's job is to kind of give you the others, give you the R&B break, give you the, you know, the hip hop break. So it was good to kind of bring artists to do that, which we're trying to do in every Holo Holo.
That's sick. I mean, and the after party, you guys had a very special guest, huh?
You see, and those, so like both nights, Comic Kings hosted the first night, which was Saturday, and Boog did Sunday. And every night, like Sunday night, we had Jo Koy there. And Jo Koy wasn't even there thinking everything was going on. He had a corner table. It was him and his son and some friends. And we were doing our thing. And he kept looking over. And I kept saying, bro, that looks like Jo Koy. And Jay Taj came to me and was like, bro, Jo Koy's here. He wants to meet Boog. He wanted to meet Jay Boog. So Jay Boog came, went to go meet him. He just kept looking, was like, dude, it's a vibe over here. Because we weren't playing your normal Vegas stuff. we like at a Island Vibes party, we play all island stuff. You know, we had Bug mixing in with some good hip hop, old school R&B. So by the end of the night, he was right next to me. I was DJing, we were singing karaoke the whole night. So he was just like saying, you guys got to do this every month. I was like, funny you say that. We do this every first Thursday, Island Vibes Thursdays. But he lives in Vegas, so he has a house out here. And we exchanged numbers. And, you know, he's a fan of Common Kings, fan of J Boog, and they were in the building. And now everybody's there. So now we're taking pictures. You got Jo Koy singing karaoke with me, DJing. Mustafa's over here. So it was just like, I always tell people, if you missed it, you missed it. Because I always tell people, you never know who's going to show up, because Vegas is one of those things that anybody at any moment can show up. Like we did a thing the other day, and Bruno Mars showed up at his spot. And we're like, damn, it's just, you never know in Vegas. So having Jo Koy there and kind of seeing what we do, the next week we're all in LA together. They were doing a Filipino festival. And we're like, dude, you're in the same town. And just kind of have that connection now, because, you know, Filipinos, Hawaiians, Samoans, we're all kind of like the same. So when he kind of like seen what he was doing, he's like, I got to come to the next show. And he actually got invited to the Jo Koy Fluffy Guy show at SoFi. And that's almost sold out. That's a whole stadium.
I think it's gonna be huge. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah. So just having that, you know, interaction with him, it was dope to see. You know, we see his shows and he's singing karaoke with me. He's singing Jodeci, he's singing Tevin Campbell, and we're all drunk. Like, what's going on? So we woke up in the morning and I had my photographer. I was like, dude, I need the footage. And he sends me all these videos of Jo Koy singing, Jo Koy rapping. You know, it's me. So we put that all together and put it out there, and it went viral as far as, you know, Jo Koy reposted it. Real cool dude too, real down to earth. You know, considering what he does, you know, considering where he's at in his career, and just kind of have him shout us out. And was like, oh, you know, I had a good time with Big and Jay Taj, and now, you know, that's our guy.
It looked like he's piggybacking him for a little while.
A little bit, because the DJ booth's small. So he was right here. I was like, you just get around my shoulder. But he was around all he felt at home. And his son was there. And so it was a good family environment. And there was, like, not to say that I'm surprised, but there's no problems. Everyone's having a good time. So we always take pride in doing the after parties for Holo Holo, because you did all the island reggae and family stuff. Now it's kind of time for everybody to let their hair down and kind of have a good time. Vegas style, but not Vegas style, if that makes. Yeah. We had a dope spot at the Palms, 55 floors up, looking over, you know, the view of Vegas. But now you're partying with the likes of Bug, Jo Koy, Common King. You know, we had Sammy Johnson in there. So it was a good vibe, man. So next time, you guys don't miss a Western Conference after party. I know it's a long day, because that's the time where you can drop the kids off to the babysitter or whatever it is and go let your hair down and go have a good time with us.
Where else are you going to have this is a free party, no cover.
Free party. And Polys love free. So when I was on stage, I said, look, come to the after party, Didn't get that much of a reaction. Oh, it's a free after party. The crowd went wild. I said, y'all ain't shit. First of all, free after party was what it was. And that's what we want to keep it, because you get to mingle with the artists and stuff like that too. So it's a dope time.
Yeah, and where else are you going to get that opportunity?
Come on, man. It's a good time for everybody.
Yeah. So, last time we were in here, you were coming off big victory, tied the record for the most wins in the middleweight division for the UFC.
Yep.
News comes out, was it late last week or earlier this week?
Last week, I think.
I was in the barbershop and everybody's asking me. I was like, bro, why the fuck would I ask him that, bro?
Is this because of Michael Bisping?
Nah, no.
My record!
So the last fight I had was the last fight of my previous contract. So that contract expired, right? And bro, funny enough, I was like, damn, bro, the UFC, like, whatever it is, I don't know if it's like some AI type shit or a department they have, but they are on it, because boom, that contract expired, and then boom, removed from roster, whatever. Anyway, I was in the midst of negotiating my new contract, which I did. And that's when all of that news came out. So it was funny to me, like, everybody is reaching out, even like people, like close friends and family, you know, like, hey, I saw this, whatever. And then there was other people that like seen it, but probably like you, like, we're like, nah, I don't like ask him about that, whatever. But me, the type of guy that I am, I was just like, bro, I'm gonna just leave it and not address anything and just let people
make their own assumptions. Yeah.
Like, the MMA world is going crazy about this.
Bro, it was funny. So somebody had commented me on, like, you guys know how I do the stories, and then he was like, everybody's losing their mind on if you're out of the UFC and you're over here doing this, laugh out loud or something funny. And I just laughed. I just laughed.
But that goes back to your character, like you just said. Like, that's just how you are. Like, if they don't know you, like, something like that has the MMA world in a stir. And he's like, Uncle, like, get a cold plunge. I was like, that's my guy right there.
But I feel like I was throwing like little things out there to kind of give, like, in So right when that story started, like people started posting it, the next video I made was just like, hey, what's up, gang? Everybody having a good day. God is good. You know what I mean? God is good. But maybe because it was like on Sunday, everybody thought I was just talking about church. But I was throwing little subtleties in there.
Me and Justin was in here like, talking about it. Like, bro, it has to be the end of a contract and in negotiations for the big contract because he got to get the big money now. And
But
it's
that's
like,
exactly what you wanted. You wanted people to make their own assumptions and speculate.
I think he's doing give a fuck.
I don't even care. I just the type of person like I can just go with the flow.
Yeah.
And regardless, like even if like say that was my final UFC fight, like I just would be going with the flow. Like I'm not that type of guy that is out there for that attention or woohoo, pity me, feel bad for. In fact, I hate people feeling bad for me. You know what I mean? So,
But if it was your last fight, you went out on top.
Yeah.
I mean, to go out with like that was like it could have been like that, but now they kind of see there's still continuation to the story.
I like put it this way, like even though and that's the chance that you take, right? So for sure, if I had underperformed or lost that fight, 100% that would have been the last one. They'd have been like, look, sorry, we appreciate you, blah blah blah. Or maybe they just would have been like, kick
like,
rocks.
good career,
But-
B.
And
Thanks.
you're talking about the risk of fighting out the
Fighting
contract,
out the contract.
and not negotiating earlier,
And not negotiating
getting that
earlier.
higher number.
Yeah, not negotiating earlier, and that's the toss up, right? Is like it's been like that my whole career. Is that last fight, either the third or the fifth fight, depending on the contract, you always want to show up and show out because that's the one that you can negotiate off. If you come in off of a loss on that one, it's hard to negotiate.
Yeah, especially when you come off
Like,
a loss.
You're like, oh, you just
Negotiations
lost.
are harder. Yeah.
Exactly. You just lost. Like, why should we give you this? Like, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it's a business. So, and that's the chance you take. It's like, okay, so my fifth fight on that last contract was coming off of a loss. So it's like, do we renegotiate here coming off of a loss? Or do we take the chance? And we don't know who or what is around the corner, but do we take the chance? We can take this last fight and we can just put him on this fight and go from there. And, God is good, like I said, and fight went the way it went. UFC has always been great to me, and they gave me, another contract. And so now I can go out there and chase that, like, hold the record myself,
Yeah.
Get that record.
I mean, out of curiosity, does stories like Dominic Reyes come up in negotiations? Like, guys that have like went on big skids or look like they might be on their way out of the UFC, and now he's like a fight or two from being back in a title fight type of thing.
I'm sure all of those situations come up. Luckily for me, I got one of the best managers in the business, Ali, and I never have to really personally take part in those negotiations. That's what I
That's
pay.
what their job's for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why
Take
I pay
that stress
him.
off you.
I've always trusted in him. In my career, I've had two terrible, horrible management situations prior to getting with Ali. And ever since I got with Ali, it's everything that I felt like a management should be. They should be that person speaking for you. They should be that person, that middleman for you between yourself and the company, the matchmakers, Like you personally as the fighter, you don't ever want to be the bad guy. You want somebody to go to bat for
You're trying
you.
to hire the bad guy.
Exactly.
Like, you want
The middleman, yeah.
The good bad guy.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Is it say like if you're on a 5-fight contract and say you go on like this tear, like like how McGregor came in and he just went on his tear, are you able to come in and try to negotiate early?
oh yeah, 100%.
If you're
Especially
if you're bringing in numbers and you're bringing in like knockouts and all this stuff, are you?
Yeah.
So you can
100%.
negotiate.
You can like and a good manager will do that for you.
Yeah.
They know exactly when to push, when to pull type of deal, right? Like they know like demand is high right now.
Yeah.
Let's talk right now.
Like Pereira was probably one of those guys that could
yeah.
come in.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, this is like although we fighting, it's a freaking entertainment business. So that's what it is.
Because I was talking to Tai Tuivasa on Minds, and he was coming up. He's not on the best streak right now. He came off a couple losses, and he's going back to fight. And it's like he's just a brand in his own. We're talking about that where the shoey and everything kind of took its own mentality where he's a fighter that people want to see. Brad's a fighter that people want to see. They're familiar with. And I feel like those negotiations are easier for their management because they're like saying, look, this is my client. This is my, that's my guy, as opposed to someone that's like really like a no name, got beat a couple of times. Then it's kind of like, all right, who's next? Yeah. But I think with people like Brad and Ty, like they've been and they've offered a lot. He has the record, you have a heavyweight. Heavyweights are like scarce right now. And I was talking to him about it where heavyweights, you want the knockout. And Ty, we've kind of grown to like love watching him knock people out, from all the heavyweights. So I think you have to have a brand. And I think talking to him about the shoey was his kind of like alleviating some of that pressure. So if he did bad, he still had like the shoey because that was a thing that everybody can kind of like, resonate with. So it's kind of like dope because I think in Brad's case, he has the record that's being chased right now. So like if he lost and didn't have that, negotiations for the manager would be like, oh, well, they don't want you anymore. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's a business at the end of the day. Like I see like B was talking about where this is entertainment. Like whether it's the WWE, wherever it is, you have to entertain the masses. And if your client or yourself is not being one of those entertainers, you're just getting pushed out the way. Not in a bad way, respectfully, but you as a fighter, as an entertainer, has to respect that it's a business. So like even hearing B talk about it's a business, some people don't have that mentality. Someone's like, oh man, all I did for this company is like, nah, at the end of the day, you got to remember it's a business too. But you just got to be the business. It's just fortunate that B whooped dude's ass and now he's ready for the next one. Yep. Now he's ready to go.
That's the thing that's crazy. Like there's no social media antics or extra talking. It's just
proof is in the pudding.
One of the best fighters on earth for the past decade and a half.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it also it comes to show how much of an impact you have on like, especially Hawaii culture. Because everybody was like,
huge.
What the fuck is going on? The whole fucking Hawaii was like, no fucking way. Fuck.
Like, don't get me wrong. Let me not make this a racist thing, but if Brad was a white boy, they probably wouldn't have had that much of an uproar. But because
in our community, though,
we were like, now it's on. You know what I mean? So that's why we always want to support our own to hear that. That's why it was always, is he with him? He's not with him. Everyone was kind of, because that's kind of like our guy.
The barbershop was all talking about it. I was like, bro, I don't fucking know.
Bro, and you know what? Honestly, is like, that's like, it's, I appreciate it. Like, even though not a lot of people brought it straight to my attention. There was a few, obviously, even like randoms.
Yeah.
Hey, I seen this, blah, blah, blah. But just to feel like the support, like a lot of the messages that did come through was like, hey, I saw this. Don't know if this is true or not because I didn't comment on it, right? But no matter what, you make us proud. You make Hawaii proud. And whatever, like that type of stuff. So to all those people that did reach out, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate the support.
Everybody was hitting me too. They was like, hey, what's up with your boy? I was like, B gonna do what B gonna do. So at the end of the day, that's what it was. But it was the support of everyone being concerned. Like, nah, I want to see him get the, people wanted to see one of our own.
That's the thing now. Everybody wants to see you get that record.
Oh man, that's like the thing.
Bro, I get on group chat with three of my best friends in them, and we talk to each other every day, right? And so when that came out, I screenshotted the thing and I texted to them, and I was like, well, boys, it's been a fun ride. all good things must come to an end.
Thank you, my brothers.
And then one of my boys was like, no fucking way. And I was like, it's all good. I told him he worked at Hawaiian. Huh? I was like, bro, maybe Hawaiian Airlines hiring. And then I text one of my other boys is HPD back home. I was like, nah, or maybe I go join my brother. Yeah, maybe I go join my brother in blue. And so my friends was like, bro, no fucking way, not one win away from a record.
That's what everybody wants to see it.
That's a tagline,
bro. And I just keep going. And then Tony Diaz.
Yeah,
he reached out to me. Shout out Tony Diaz. He's going through some stuff right now. Yep. But he hit me up and he was like, yo, did UFC cut you? And then I was like, I said, yup. And he wrote back. He was like, no fucking way or something like that. And I was, or what happened? And then I was like, bro, they told me that I couldn't have any friends that's homos. And I refuse to not be your friend. He was like, damn, fuck you.
So he was messing with everybody. He said, we're going to have some good fun with this one. That's how you got to do it, though. Or you got to keep it light.
But you not saying nothing just made that whole, everybody talked even more.
Oh, man.
That's what made it even better.
Yeah, that was dope.
And I wasn't going to call and ask
I heard
you that.
Brendan Schaub say maybe I heard the word is he's negotiating a big contract with GFL. he's going for the big payday before his retirement.
Bro, the GFL I don't even think that's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
They canceled, which is crazy. They came out
Yeah,
hot,
came out hot.
bro. As soon as they came out and signed all those guys, I instantly was like, bro.
But
how?
honestly, we should have knew like the fake draft where like they had like the list of the picks on the back of the screen already.
Bro, but they sent out contracts to people, bout agreements. I know the first thing that I remember, funny enough, is that the night of my last fight, we were talking about it. Myself, Ray, and Eric. More so Ray and Eric, and I just kind of listening to them talk about it. But we have a few guys from the team, Kai Boy being one of them, that is in the GFL. And Ray was like kind of asking like, hey, like how's everything going with that? Because I guess one of the venues that they said that the fight was gonna be at, I guess Ray guys were having a show there, and it came up that they hadn't even filed for the venue license or whatever. However that goes down, they hadn't even filed for it. So I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So that was a Saturday. Monday, I seen Kai Boy at the gym. And I asked him, I was like, hey, bro, just out of curiosity, because Ray and Eric was talking about this. Did you like get your like bout agreement, whatever? Does it have the venue on it, whatever? And he's like, oh, they actually just sent me out with a new one. It has a different venue now, but it has the date, the venue, opponent, all of that. So he's like, oh, okay, all good. Bro, not even a couple hours later, MMA Junkie posted, the first 2 or 3 inaugural GFL shows canceled. And I was like, so I reached out to Kai, and I was like, and I was sure he had heard about it, but just in case, you know, like maybe he was just with his kids or whatever. I was like, hey, bro, I know we're just talking about this. Like, did they tell you anything yet? And then obviously, you know, frustration for him, you know, is like, dude, whatever. Yeah. Long story short, he ended up getting granted his release from them. He went on to fight in Tough Enough a couple weeks ago. Yeah. Dominated, smashed. So
Dominated too.
He should be
that organization grew a lot too, yeah.
Really?
Tough enough.
Because I remember going to it when it was free.
Yeah, you remember it was all amateurs.
It was all amateur, free
when
amateur.
We first got out there, it was all amateurs. It was only amateurs.
But he used to just come hand out flyers, and we used to just go and watch free Tough Enough.
Because there's a few like those. Because I know Sean Merriman was doing Lights Out one. There's like a different, you know. Then there's the PFL that Ray was doing for a little while. So it's just there's so many that's trying to get to the thing. But then I don't know if somebody's throwing the monkey wrench in it. But like that GFL stuff was like, man, came out of nowhere where it was just done. Yeah. Like it's just like that MMA jink put it out there. I was like, oh, so that's why when I seen Kai fighting, I was like, I thought he was supposed to fight in that other one. But it's just they always because you're already training for these things, right?
So the UFC has always been at the forefront, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, you used to have WEC for the smaller guys. UFC absorbed them. Strike Force, UFC absorbed them. Pride, I'm pretty sure UFC absorbed them as well.
Yeah. A lot of the fighters came from
it. So UFC has always been at the top, and then right below them has been Bellator. And Ray showed WSOF at the time and PFL now.
PFL, yeah.
And then kind of in the mix on the Asia side of things, one FC.
Is it Ryzen now? What is it?
Ryzen and one. I don't know.
One's different. One's a different league.
They're different.
Yeah.
But they're out there in Asia. But one is like kind of like in that like around the lines of like the PFL and stuff. And then here came GFL, and now I don't know.
It came with a good idea, but I think it wasn't just.
Well, their main investor bailed out, I guess. Like he said that he wouldn't fulfill all the funds, and that killed everything.
But all those guys the way they did, you gotta have some mean funds. You gotta have some like Saudi Arabia type funds.
That's what I noticed too. Like a lot of the boxing is going towards Saudi Arabia and doing everything.
That one guy is.
He's in all everybody. That's why. Every boxing, every UFC thing. He's
that guy.
But
Turkey
you see
Al-Sheikh,
what
whatever.
Rolly was talking shit about him, yeah.
Yeah, did you
Rolly
see
was saying
that?
that he never put him in a hotel.
They didn't give him a hotel room. They didn't put any money in escrow for him.
He walked to the venue.
Who, for Rolly?
Yeah, because they pretty much was saying like they had their favorites who they wanted to win, and they didn't take care of the.
And then Rolly messes around and wins.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
A big upset. Plus 800.
Nasty hook too.
In this last fight,
the
wasn't
boxing
that fight in New York?
Madison Square
Times
Garden.
Square, Times Square.
Times Square.
Oh, what, that was put on by those guys?
Yeah.
Oh, I was all confused. I was like, bro, I swear that was in New York.
It was pretty much Friday, Saturday, Sunday had fights.
And then they had Devin Haney asking, "What happened?" I was like, "Devin, don't, not right now."
Bro, he cannot talk shit at all on that one.
He lost that fight?
No, he won, but it was like the fewest punches ever thrown in a fight or something.
I was honestly surprised that like just on paper, I was like, oh, Garcia beat Rolly.
I almost bet him. I almost bet Garcia.
And then the fights was early,
Yeah.
And then I remember we were at my auntie's house when is that? Friday, like
Yeah,
couple
Friday.
Fridays
Yeah.
ago, or last Friday?
Last Friday.
Last
Yeah.
Friday, yeah.
And then we was like, hey, turn on the fight. We was looking for him, this on, whatever. Oh, done already.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow, who won?
East Coast time. I was
Rolly.
like,
I was
Rolly
like,
won.
what? Crazy.
Big surprise, yeah,
Yeah,
everybody.
that was big because I almost bet the house on Garcia. Good thing I was like, oh, it's East Coast time, so I missed my window, but thank God I did.
Good thing I stopped betting long time ago. I was kind of stuck in the middle because I was like, bro, I know kind of know both of them,
Yeah.
so I was like, oh fuck it, just cheer for both.
Now I gotta stop. I started betting with my knowledge instead of heart now. It's like last night I knew the Warriors were gonna lose because they lost Steph Curry.
Steph Curry was out.
So I bet, Minnesota minus 10.5. And then I bet like Podziemski that was gonna take Steph's spot over 22, points, rebounds, and assists. And just kind of doing that. I just throw them in there. Those are the ones that win. And then the ones like I try to go hard on, those are the ones that always lose. So I'm like, all right, let me not care so much and throw a 2-teamer or a 3-teamer in there. But
Yeah.
once you get that, it's addicting.
It's hard to bet if you're like friends with them. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's why I was telling.
What happened to Steph?
Oh, his hamstring. So he might be out for the rest of the remaining of this series. So
They're done then.
Yeah.
and I'm a Warrior fan. Like, I mean, they Butler and Green, they were good without Steph that second half that they won. But you got Anthony Edwards. He almost got hurt. Not like I wanted you to get hurt, Anthony Edwards, but Anthony Edwards almost got hurt yesterday, which was like, oh, cool, we're going to even it out. But he's not as hurt as we thought it was going to be. So he's probably going to play out the
It was
series.
weird because I never liked the Warriors until Steph kind of got later in his career. I started to like it.
Man,
Like,
I remember when we drafted Steph and I was a Warrior fan. I was a Warrior fan when they had Chris Mullin, Tim Hardaway, but it was like, he was like made out of glass when he was a rookie.
Oh, yeah.
So we had
Well,
Monte
and
Ellis.
coming out of Davidson,
Angles,
he was,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we thought Monte Ellis was supposed to be the Steph what he is now.
Yep.
And Monte Ellis had a little street edge to him. And Steph every just was coming around. I was like, dude, cut this dude. And I could say I was one of those guys. And he ended up being one of the best shooters of our time. And it's crazy because I seen him. I was like, dude, he got Jay, but he's always getting his ankles, broken and now that where he's at now, like he's one of the best. Like, he's top 5 to me. We're not gonna start this right now, Justin, because we know he's not even in your top 10.
Nah, he's
Bro, he's good.
He's about
I don't
there.
like
Like,
him,
he's
but I don't like him. But
top
I don't-
15.
Yeah.
Top 15 in
better
that
than
range.
LeBron.
Top
Oh
15.
my god.
Top 10, top 15.
He's easily better than LeBron.
Don't get Justin started. bro.
LeBron is not even the greatest in his own era.
What are we
let alone
doing?
You
of
know
all
what?
time.
What are we
That went
doing?
viral of all of us talking about this Jordan LeBron debate.
But like Curry is not above LeBron. That's not even close.
100% he is.
If Curry won this year, I think he would be up there. Like
LeBron
1-2.
beat them so bad with a depleted team that they had to go grab Kevin Durant.
LeBron, no,
They had to add Kevin
Can you see
Durant.
how
Kevin
Justin gets so
Durant,
adamant about
Kevin
LeBron?
Durant wanted to beat her.
Oh, yeah.
And they won before
They
Kevin
went
Durant
to
got
go
there.
beg it for him.
Bro,
They went and
LeBron left
recruited him.
Cleveland to go to
Clay,
Miami. Ring chaser.
Steph and Draymond jumped on
he's the
jet.
start of the dream
Flew.
team ring chasers. Hey,
just like this,
I used
Justin
to be.
still has LeBron.
I used to be a
KD,
LeBron
help
fan.
us.
Coming out of freaking high school, I was a huge LeBron fan.
Yeah.
And then when he left Cleveland to go to Miami, Dream Team,
Dream-
Big
yeah, the
Three,
Big Three.
I was like, bro, come on, LeBron.
Yeah.
Like, you better than that. And then only to go back to Cleveland, I'm like, bro, come on.
and then get
And
whooped
then
up this year.
Cleveland, this is for you. The block.
He should have stayed his ass in Miami.
But what happened this year with LeBron? Is he starting to show signs of
Oh,
old
he's
age?
I think
40
his age
something
is.
years
I think his
old.
age
Yeah.
is setting in because
Do
that
you
was
see him coming back?
that was
As a
definitely
LeBron
not
fan, would you
playoff.
like to see him come back?
Yeah, I would like to for the next maybe
that was
like
in
3 or 4
playoff
years.
LeBron that you usually see.
3 or 4 years.
You think he has that many years in
I
him?
think he does. I think I
So you rather
Why
see
did
him
he look
go
so
out
tired?
dwindling than he is on top? Like I
Bro,
think if he
you
went out
cannot
now.
be in the league and play the minutes he plays like that for 3 or 4 more years.
no,
And
he
they
can't.
load
No,
one.
he
He has
can't.
to be like a Jawan Howard. Like, remember
Yeah,
how Jawan
yeah.
Howard just, you're like, you see him on the bench, you're like, oh, he's still in the league? Like, that's what LeBron is going to have to be. But LeBron is too big to be that. So,
Do you see Al Horford for the Celtics?
Yeah.
How well he's playing still? I think he's like
Well,
Yeah,
because
but he doesn't take on a role like
he's
LeBron.
a
that's
role
why.
player now.
Yeah.
Like LeBron always has to be the role.
But
you know what I
also,
mean? I don't think
yeah.
he could be a role player.
and Al
It's the younger
Horford
team.
is not like the focal point like that. Like, he's not taking
Yeah.
as much. Like,
Because if
abuse, I
LeBron
guess
signed
you could
again,
say.
they would want him to be the leader of the team still. I don't think he's comfortable being a role player, saying, oh, let the younger guys do all the role stuff and I'll
Yeah.
just play my role like Al Horford. Al Horford could do that. LeBron, I don't think could do that.
I think he could.
don't
With the
think he
wisdom and the leadership that he can bring to the team,
I don't think that's in him.
I think
I
he
don't
could.
think he's
I
willing
think he
to
could be the third or
downplay
fourth
his
best player on the
stardom.
team and win a title. I think that's the only reason why he would stay 3 or 4 years. If they put together a team around him where he's the third or fourth
Or he's
best
waiting for
player.
his other son to get in.
That would be the
Bro,
ultimate
I
goal.
cannot see LeBron staying and not like.
I say maybe
being
a year because
starter.
I think he wants to do it with Luka. You have a piece there in Luka, and I think he wants to prove everybody wrong and say, okay, you got Luka and you guys still got bounced out of the playoffs.
I think you need another piece.
Yeah,
They didn't have a big.
they didn't have a big.
Yeah.
The Warriors
Yeah,
problem every year.
now LeBron trying to get Joker, bro.
Yeah,
That would
the
be.
Jokers.
Oh, then yeah, they're good.
Then you have your big three. Then you can get your thing and go out on top.
I think that would be the perfect scenario.
Joker ain't going there.
Joker,
Why would he
I don't
not?
think the league would let that happen. It's bad enough they let Luka go over there.
Didn't the league? Which one did the league stop
Paul.
one time?
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul.
Which
right.
that's insane looking
Yeah.
back at it now.
That was like they hated on that. Like there's a lot of deals that could have went through, but NBA, like at the end of the day, it goes back to it's been in business. It's a business where if you put Jokic with LeBron and Luka, that's not fair.
No, it ain't.
You know what I mean? So you gotta kind of offset.
But
leave them over there.
If you're watching the league now, it's kind of like it's not like it's the end of an era is coming up soon.
Yeah,
You know
I
what
feel
mean?
it is. Like the
LeBron,
end of the
Durant,
Steph,
it's coming to
KD,
an end soon.
That era is coming to an end where
Yeah.
you having those there. So.
yeah.
Before we head out, UFC 315. Is there any fights you're interested in?
Who's on that one?
Biggest fight would be Bilal Muhammad and JDM because that kind of determines if Islam goes up to fight 170.
Bro, honestly, I think I'm with Bilal in that one. I just think like he is very. I think people don't appreciate his skill set as much as they should. And
What is the reason people don't like him?
I don't know.
They say he's boring. He doesn't finish fights.
But if you watch like the guys that he goes up against, and he takes chances too. It's not like he was just like waiting. Oh, I'm waiting title shot. He was waiting. He could have got a title shot.
Yeah.
He went and fought freaking Sean Brady, bro, who everybody was hyping up, and bro, he smashed him. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people underestimate and undervalue his skill set, which as a fighter, I think he's a great fighter. Jack Magadal, I don't know how to say his name. Sorry, brother.
How does Rampage say it?
Jack Magdaleno. What is it? Magdaleno?
He says some
Jack Della Maddalena.
Rampage says the
Jack
craziest
Della
shit when he
Maddalena.
doesn't know how to say people's names, bro.
Bro, but he's another one though. He is like I like his style, and he's one. Every time I hear his, like I've not really watched him too much, but every time I hear his name and who he's fighting, I'm like, oh yeah, no, he not gonna get past that guy. Boom, gets past him.
Yeah.
Then the next one, they're like, oh, he fighting that guy now. Like, you know, he's come up the right way of fighting the right guys. And I'm like, nah, he not gonna get past that guy. Bro, and he beats him, finishes him, whatever. So he's one of those guys, you know, like I'm like, oh, hard for bet against him. But if I had to pick one side, if I had to put my money on it, it would be on Bilal. Just the very well-rounded fighter, the skill set. If he's a good enough striker to strike. And if that's not going his way, he can still wrestle. He has good ground game, tough to submit. So I think Bilal in that fight.
So let's say that scenario goes through. Bilal wins. Islam stays down, and he fights Ilia Topuria for the lightweight title. Who do you have in that fight, Ilia Topuria or Islam Makhachev?
I am a Ilia fan. Like I like his style, but I just think I don't know. Like I've seen a lot of clips. Now this is just clips of like Ilia wrestling and grappling, and bro, he looks like maybe a lot more, like he might have way more skill there than he has to even show in these
That
fights.
boy dangerous, yeah.
Yeah, but bro, Islam is I would have to go Islam. But I think that's honestly a fight I would get excited about. That's a good fight.
Ilya's got that stone cold confidence where he says, I'll pick up Islam, I'll put him down in the corner next to Habib, and I'll submit him with whatever submission you guys want me to.
No, yeah, and bro, for him to go out and do what he did to Max, like that was
that was
damn.
You had to respect it after that. I was, ooh.
Yeah. So Ilya and I
he's all in here like
Ilya and I had fought on a card a couple years back. This is like 2021 maybe. And I spent like, you know, just that fight week just seeing him a lot and talking to him. And I actually really liked him. And prior to, just stylistically, like that's the type of fighter he is one of my favorite styles. Like I'm a fan of Ilya. I'm a fan. I'm more so a fan of Ilya than I am of Islam stylistically. Like I like to watch Ilya fight. But just like looking at that, Ilya coming up, I don't know. It's like you gonna go up on weight class for a fight. That dominant champ, and Islam is so well rounded.
Huge.
But that being said, Islam has been clipped before, and Ilya can crack. So that would honestly, that's a
that'd
fight.
be the end.
That's a fight I'm excited.
Well, the
for.
MMA math, right? It would say if Volk can do that to Islam, and Ilya did that to Volk,
But
Well,
MMA math
never adds up.
mathing.
before you
What,
get
what about Patty? I mean, I like watching Patty. You like Patty?
Patty.
Yeah.
I like Patty. I like listening to
Yeah.
him talk.
Yeah.
yeah, that is
Like
fun.
the Scouse. Yeah. Like
Do you,
I'm
think
knocked
do you
out.
think he's title ready?
Nah, not yet. I don't think
Top
so.
5 ready?
He's clipped
Top
way
five.
too much.
Top 5, yeah.
He's
Top
clipped
five.
too
He
much.
gotta
He
clean
deserves
up-
a test.
He got to clean up his game a little bit. But bro, the thing that I didn't really realize about him until these last couple
big.
fights is how big he is,
Yeah.
bro.
He fucking was huge in that
Pause.
last
He's a
fight.
Pause.
monster.
Is it 200? No, isn't he 200
He's a
off
big
season?
dude. Patty's a big.
I think he only gets up to like 180 something, 190
I don't
now
know.
because
190 is close
he's staying
enough
in
to
bigger
200.
What's
shape.
crazy to me though is how big he can get and how shredded he gets.
Oh, yeah.
for his
Discipline and
fights.
hard work.
Bro, you see him in the off season, he's a fucking like blob. It's
Yeah.
not even a
No,
tank, bro.
he's
It's a blob.
He's not doing that anymore. If
Oh,
you
is it?
his
Oh,
last
wow.
like 2 fights, he hasn't blown up like that. If you
Oh,
notice.
shit.
Good.
Patty.
That
Patty's a
motherfucker
good
straight in the
bet.
back eating pizzas right after.
As you get older, that shit gets harder.
Before you head out of here, your contract. How long of a fight contract that we signed for?
4 fights.
Satisfied? Is it the biggest money we've ever had so far in the UFC?
It's like right along lines with what I feel like I should be getting.
Yeah.
So it's not.
But are you good with 4 fights? Are you that's like in the realm of what you wanted to do?
Yeah,
4
yeah.
more. Okay.
Bro, to be honest, I know I'm getting older. When I was young, when I first started this, I always said like, oh, people would ask like, oh, when you think you're gonna be fighting to? And I was like, 35. At 35, I'm good. You know, like, and bro, 35 was a couple years ago.
Yeah.
That came and went like nothing. The fire's still there. The body's still feeling good. The motivation is still there. But that being said, is like I know that I am on the tail end of my career and I am ready for what comes next. So we'll fight out these 4 and go from there. It's not one of those things that I can put one definitive cap on right now. Like 4 fights, that's it. I'm done. That's a wrap. Blah blah blah. We'll see what happens. But I'm not trying to fight forever. I'm not.
We're just trying to break the record and have a party.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I say. You gotta plan the after party.
Yeah.
I see
After you
guys
break
like
the record,
Dominic
we got
Reyes that have had this late career resurgence where they're back into the top 10, going to fight a top 5 and possibly another title fight. It's very well the possibility that that's in the cards for you. You're right there where another
that's not
fight,
like- that's
you're
not
back
out of
into
the
the top
question.
15.
Like
Oh,
with
yeah,
these
yeah.
4 fights, anything can happen as far as you could get another shot. I mean, you see how the cards play out, but in those 4 fights, there's possibilities of big
for sure.
fights. Yeah.
For sure.
You're right off 4, we're back in the top 5.
Yep, exactly.
For sure. 100%.
And we'll be doing the after party for the record breaking bout with Betsy.
Oh yeah.
Any other plugs you got before you got to head out, Barrett? I know you got to jump out.
No. I can't. We kind of talked on it earlier. One of my homies, Tony Diaz, going through some medical things right now. Unexpected, like it always is. But I just posted on my story, and I'll post again. But Tony Diaz MMA. If you guys jump on over to his Instagram, one of our teammates. I've known him pretty much ever since I've been out here in Vegas. Solid guy, really just cool guy. One of those guys that if you ever need anything, he's one of those guys that will be there for you in whatever way he can help. But he's going through some medical stuff right now and just needs a little help right now. And that's the only
Prayer in there for him.
Yep. Prayers.
However you guys can help.
Yep.
Appreciate you, Brad. Thank you so much.
Beat up, my guy. Always good seeing you.
You guys want to run for a few more minutes? Or are we going to jump out too?
Yeah.
I can run for a few more minutes. See you later, Brad.
All right, man.
Right on, B. Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you coming down, Brad.
I completely forgot for fucking bring up what I was gonna bring up.
Mama,
Oh, next one.
Podcast.
What is it?
Next one.
wait.
Bro, Alexi,
I'm in a podcast.
Alexi, Cisco and Just do the run it straight.
Bro, I was going to bring that up too. I forgot.
Bro,
Bro, I think it's wild, bro. That one is street.
so that's what I texted you guys. I was like, bro, I just thought of something funny. Fucking Cisco get the size. That's why every time I watch that shit, I'm like, oh, this is his cousin right there.
Bro, I've been watching it. It's beyond crazy.
Bro, that
it's
is
like-
wild. That's crazier to me than the power slap.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Bro,
Oh, yeah.
these guys are like refrigerators running into each other.
If you
Have
guys
you
don't know what
seen
we're talking
them?
about,
They
we'll
get-
run a clip right here, but it's two big dudes running full speed and hitting each other. And it's
What
they call
is
it
the
running
point of
straight.
even holding the ball?
I have no clue.
It's like rugby.
None.
Well,
It's a
you're-
rugby
you're the
drill.
Fuck the
receiver
ball
at
at
the
that
end.
point. Like, fuck it. Just
Exactly.
run into
Bro,
each other.
The ball is just decoration. Dog, these guys been getting stiff. Like,
Bro, like
out.
knocked out. Oh yeah, it's
Bro,
been bad.
I don't know. Like, I watch it and I feel like my collarbone breaking.
Yeah,
Bro,
I don't know how.
I feel like that's like
gotta be
every-
Polynesian. That's why.
the collarbones
Man.
is like a first to give.
well,
right?
Polynesians,
All
we don't
those
have
guys.
collarbones. We call them steel beams.
Yeah.
They just go across our
I beam.
But yeah, that's what I was like. I just want.
Would you ever do run it straight?
Hell no.
They got
And
Cisco-
what? They're doing that for free, right?
Yeah, they're doing it for free. That's what,
crazy.
guys. No more free. You
Hey,
gotta run it straight for
My
some
running
money.
straight guys, you guys is wild. Bro, you guys like is crazy, like maybe a little bit mentally not there for doing that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And for free, bro, you guys is wild.
Get paid.
Get paid.
Get
Yeah,
paid.
get paid.
And I think it's blowing up though. Somebody
Yeah,
had to
it
pay
is.
for
Yeah.
it soon.
See, because it's entertainment.
That's
Too bad.
Cisco's cousin.
Too bad.
It's gotta be Cisco's cousins on
All
there.
my family saying, "You're next." Right on, B.
Oh my god.
Yeah, running straight is crazy, bro.
And it went from nothing to blown up within.
Oh,
Well,
huge.
they were like TikTok videos at first, and then they were like on Instagram.
It's
and I was
everywhere
like, oh. Now they made it where they had an event where they had fans sitting there. There's a little grass strip, and they're doing it for like. I mean, hopefully they're doing it for
Sponsor-
money.
they had big time sponsors and everything.
They're gonna nail big sponsors.
They
I mean,
did.
that's one thing about our society: pain sells, sex sells. Pain, as you look into this running straight, is they're hitting each other full on head speed car.
No, I've
crash
been
collision.
watching it. I was like, bro, there's no point in even having the ball.
No,
Oh, bro.
so what the ball does is it basically signifies who's offense and who's
Yes,
defense.
yes.
There's gonna be a
That's the
difference
only
of
thing it does.
who's dropping a shoulder and
Who's
who's
the hitter
rapping.
and who's the receiver?
Exactly.
Because if you're the guy with the ball, you could truck them, but you still have you're the ball carrier. So it's like, dude, when these guys are going and you see them go limp and their body's up in there, I'm like, oh, wee.
Because
My
you-
whole body goes numb.
If you just catch a shoulder to the jaw, that's why at that.
And that's what I've been seeing. So what I see some of the guys, they have some technique where they're running and they're throwing that shoulder
Yeah.
right on the spot, like right here where they get so. And it's with so much force. Like these are some big dudes.
No, they're not running slow either.
No, and they're like running full speed.
speed.
But that's always a thing.
and then the launch.
Oh yeah, the launch
the
is the
launch.
most important part. You always thought like when we were probably were kids, we're running at each other and we're just launching each other into each other. And this just happens to everyone. Okay, let's make a sport out of it. Which I don't know who did it. What's genius, but still, I think it's going to be faster CTE than power slap.
I don't
That's
know.
right there.
But they're not. There's no
They're
head.
not hitting the head.
That's
You're
the
right.
thing about rugby, right? And that's why rugby's always been like so
Yeah.
great for teaching tackling. Is
Like I have a found respect for rugby players and even the running straight guys. Like they always say, "Oh, you know, football over there, you have pads on." Like when I started really watching rugby, these guys are athletes. They're hitting each other. They're running. Like they have all the intangibles. Like they're fast. They're strong, and they have to have some kind of like ball skill. So they're doing their thing. And they're doing all this without pads. Then you run the tries, and so rugby is a sport that I respected, especially being raised on American football. To kind of say like, "Oof." You know, now rugby's starting to be bigger. You know, now kids are playing in rugby leagues and
Hasn't wasn't there like a rugby player that like a poly one that got drafted to the NFL?
well, Jordan Mailata. There's
Right,
a
he
bunch
never
of,
even played American football ever in his life. He just played
Well,
rugby.
there was a
right?
bunch of them that like kind of like dabbled in it, but Jordan
Was it the
Mailata.
Eagles? Was it the Eagles, right?
The Eagles.
That's,
So he's
that's what he's talking about.
Jordan Mailata he's now a Super Bowl champion where he was a rugby player, and you know it always takes that one guy. How would he do but doesn't know football? You know American football rules. They kind of got him into a camp. They kind of taught him the game, and
He was
you
just
know,
athletic, right?
He's just athletic.
Massive.
Oh, massive.
Massive.
But you put a little bit of that
strong.
with a little bit of know-how, like it can give. Like he's an NFL winning Super
You
Bowl
can't
now.
coach that
one
size,
of the best
strength,
tackles in the league
speed,
right now.
coordination. Oh no, yeah,
Yeah.
he's one of the best of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. And
That's
I've seen
how
him
good
play.
he is.
Like he already had the athleticism.
Yeah.
He just had to know how to say, okay, I got to kick here,
Yeah.
block that. Once he got that down with coaching, plus you're working with NFL coaches, and that was kind of like I want to say it was like a transfer program where they were kind of say, oh, bring up some of their players to come play with the NFL. But they have this documentary. Shout out my sis Talia over there, but she's working on a documentary that's kind of showing the gap or the bridging of the gap between rugby and American football. And it's so similar because you have all Polynesians doing it. That you have Ma'atanu Vasa, Jay Sapolu, they're going over and they already did a Polynesian Football Hall of Fame at the PCC in Hawaii, but now they're doing a Polynesian Rugby Hall of Fame.
Wow.
So they're working on that, and it just shows you like the two, like that's where our people went and played. Like real athletic people and real, the way to do it. There's running straight is something different though.
Yeah.
There's running straight is
That's
like
just impact.
it's impact, but it's like impact that we're used to already. Like when people say like we was doing that at the local park.
No, that's
like,
why.
me and my
That's
cousins,
no, but
we
it's
were just-
exciting because we don't gotta watch all the other
Yes.
technical shit. We just
You're
watch
just- it's
two
one,
guys.
It's one straight ahead. Who can get
Yeah.
and the placement of your shoulder, placement of hitting, how low you're getting. Like I was watching.
Yeah, but it's kind of
these,
scary when they get low, bro.
bro,
Some of
it's
them are just
scary because
taking
lower man,
straight.
like, they always say lower man always wins, right? But when you're going at that speed, at that rate,
Bro, these guys are just
if you're
right-
just a
run
little bit
over.
lower than your opponent, you're gonna all your momentum's gonna just go right into that person's chest, head.
Well, it's
Bro, some
timing
of them,
too,
some
right?
of them, their heads is like by their hip, and they're getting run right through.
No, and it's all placement too. Like while you see the videos, like when they're going knocked out, they're really knocked out. That's crazy.
I post him on my story all the time.
Yeah.
We played with this guy, David Fangupo. He was 6'2", 350
Yeah.
pounds at running back. And he was faster than almost everybody on our
Dude,
defense.
Vita Vea was a running back at Milpitas.
It was literally the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Literally the exact same thing. They looked exactly like when they played.
So like the thing about like poly people, we're big, but like we're agile.
Explosive.
It's like, and we could always be big because when I was a coach, I used to put all my big guys on the line. Now my guys are on the line; they're starting to be quarterbacks, tight ends in the league. I'm like, I remember those guys. So
What
really, it's
position
just
do
a
you
matter.
play when you was playing?
Tight end and D line. But I came from a receiver. I was a receiver in high school. Then my poly kicked in for college. Then I started playing D tackle, D end. I was like, oh, okay.
Because you
Kinda
put
just
on
go for
size, or
I put on size. I was so skinny in high school.
Well, and it was like that forever, right? Like
Yeah.
Polynesian players in the league, Samoans, Tongans, they were
Yeah.
all defensive line, offensive line,
they
maybe
start-
linebacker,
Maybe
right?
like-
Junior
so like
Seau.
Junior Seau,
right?
And then you start getting like the kick returners, like Visek Hema.
But now we had
Now you
Kelo
have
Polaris, we have Tedor
Mariota,
McMillan.
you got all these people like Ted McMillan. Now you're getting skilled players because now these fathers that were raised the way we're just supposed to do O-line, D-line. Now I want my son to be a quarterback. I want my son to be, and now we can do it.
Yeah.
Shout out the Nikos, the DJs, and everybody that's playing now. They're like, sought after QBs in the league now. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just something that's, you've seen a transition and the revolution of like
you,
how.
you think though, like the next generation, because of the pylons, there is highly skilled.
yeah.
It's that
No.
now.
Yeah.
It's that
Yeah.
now.
But all the poly kids
Yeah.
are like becoming
'Cause they're
highly
doing
skilled.
7-on-7.
7-on-7 and flag
So they have
football from so
7-on-7s,
early.
and then now that they're coming up with 5-on-5s. 5-on-5s are the linemen, or O-line
Yeah.
versus D-line. Now you're having 7-on-7 that's always been there. The 5-on-5 is starting to get just as much popularity than 7-on-7 is
I
now.
hadn't even heard of that.
I
Where's
watched.
that?
yeah,
I
it's
went and
dope,
watched
man.
like
Shout
some
out
of the,
Staggy Lee.
like the pylons, and it's like, bro, like the fucking
yeah.
footwork and how quick they are.
Because people were saying, how come it's just 7-on-7? It's all skill position. What about the bigger kids? So then I don't know who did it, so I won't put it out there, but they started 5-on-5, O-line versus D-line.
Wait, what is there a league or a camp?
No, it was
'Cause
camps.
I've
It
only
starts-
seen one-on-ones, right?
So one-on-one starting, and so you do that in practice, right?
course, always.
One-on-ones in practice. So somebody said, you know what? Let's make a camp for linemen, O linemen and D linemen. Teach them what to do. So like, in the Bay Area, they have one, and then people in LA, they have their kids who play O-line, D-line. Let's put them up against each other. They'll line up like they're on a line, but they'll just go one-on-ones. The tackles, you go first, but the O-line
So,
has to stay.
so it is still one-on-ones.
It's still one-on-one.
Okay.
So you're not going to do it all together. You're going to go one at a time. You do the tackle, you do the guard, do the center, and then go on the other side, guard and tackle.
Yeah.
But what's dope about that is these kids are getting they're being
Attention.
taught the right
and
way.
they're getting the attention that all the
Exposure.
other.
So when you're a 7-on-7, you're a balling quarterback
Mm.
or QB. You're getting all this fanfare because that's what people are posting
receivers
on 7-on-7. So they're catching the ball, throwing the ball. Now the 5-on-5 guys,
Yeah.
they're getting the fanfare because they're beating one of the best tackles, in Los Angeles.
And that's the things you're seeing now is like
Yeah.
the skill level of these pass rushers and
Yeah.
their pass. It's not just
No, it's
swim,
not just
rip.
bull
It's
rush.
not- it's
and all
not a
that.
swim and a rip
There's
anymore.
a whole swim. There's a
Oh
whole
my
method to the madness where
gosh.
these kids are getting. So you got to push and pull, and you're doing all these things. You're teaching these kids at the right age because they're taking this. And so you watch the Vita Vea, you watch the AJ Ep.114.
with DJ's brother, right? He's up at
Mateo.
Oregon, right?
Mateo.
Yeah.
Ulangalele. He's one of the best DNs in the league right now. I mean, in college. So to see him and what DJ's a quarterback, his brother's a DN. These are all like by choice. Well, shout out Big Dave. Well, what they were going to be more, effective at.
Right.
And DJ's been doing it from Oregon State to Clemson to
Well, even
Florida
before
State.
that,
and
at
now he's at
St. John Bosco,
St.
right?
John Bosco. And you see the kids where they're at now. Linemen are starting to get more of the fanfare now too, because a beast D lineman or a beast O lineman, they're going to go up, and you see it right now. The first 5 picks is going to be a D lineman or an O lineman because it's a hot commodity in the NFL. And I think that's what these things are doing now. The 5-on-5s, the 7-on-7s. Now there's more, footage of social media. Oh, this guy beat this guy. Oh, okay. When I see him over here, I want to go one-on-one with him.
I haven't really been paying attention to like. I know like that all of this is making skill wise better,
Yeah.
but is the size of the the same, or is it they're getting
The
smaller?
kids are always gonna poly kids are always gonna be big. It's a matter of.
But I noticed a lot of receivers are smaller,
Yeah.
shorter.
A lot of receivers are shorter, but they're also getting these tight ends that are like 6'7".
It's hard to say though. I just saw this. There's in Florida. There's this 7-on-7 team where they just transitioned a couple of their basketball players into receivers, and one plays tight end. 6'10". He's running 4'6".
But all these Hawaii teams playing,
Oh, man,
that's
Hawaii got good
smashing
teams,
everybody.
too.
They're not the tallest.
You know the
or the
7-on-7
biggest.
teams, like
Yeah.
the low pros
they're
and
not,
whatnot.
they're not the tallest. They're not.
But they're good technical
Yeah.
teams. Like they're good route runners. They're good passers. Like what I've noticed too, you don't have to be the biggest. It helps. But if you're technically, it's like a fighter. If you're technically sound, you're gonna get far because I've seen short quarterbacks make it short. Tyreek Hill, we're looking at all these shorter that beat the odds. But we're talking about poly kids that are coming out the womb 6'1".
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and now they're kind of
I
getting
just
there.
wasn't like is the league as a whole like bigger than it was back in the day, same size.
I think so. 'Cause I just
Smaller.
think the food's different nowadays. I just think even everybody in the league are bigger than what we used to see on these old NFL films videos. Like, you see them with the leather helmets. They're a little bit smaller guys, but it's always transitioned to bigger and bigger and bigger. Maybe that's just in the food.
I just
I
noticed-
think that there's just people that have come through that have shined at a such smaller stature now that
Yeah.
you kind of didn't see before.
Oh, yeah.
Where it's like, okay, we can't have a quarterback that's 6 foot. A Drew Brees at 5'10"
But,
worked
like
out.
even back in the day, like there's fucking white receivers. Now,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That you would never. Like,
Well, you had the small, like the Julian Ellermans,
Yeah.
like the Wes Welkers, and you never knew they were going to make it, but they were an intricate part because that was like a slot receiver's dream. They had to be that size. Like you see the Puka Nakuas now, they're a little bit bigger, but they're also sitting in the slot, and they're trying to they're getting more athletic every year because they're having programs like this one we were talking
That's
about.
training them
the
from
5-on-5s and the 7-on-7s. We didn't have that back in the day, so the skill set's coming in right out of the draft. They're game ready. Because the technical part of it.
They're getting
is there.
paid at 9 years
and now they're
old.
getting paid NILs. Now they're getting paid, all this stuff going forward where it's a business. But if you can make money off the business, that's why I say go and do what's best for your family all the time.
And it's like what's his name? The with TJ and Fitz, their business partner, who
Yeah.
has a studio up there. I'm pretty sure he shoots for some of the biggest flag and 7-on-7 teams
Yeah.
in the country.
Because he shoots for a lot of like the big competitions come through to Mesquite. Mesquite, Nevada, they do a lot of these huge 7-on-7. And they actually play those on NFL Network.
Yeah,
And like there's big money because
they're on ESPN.
Yeah, ESPN. And you have like the Westerland.
yeah, 'cause the tournaments are expensive. And
Tournaments are
it's
expensive,
a
but they're getting
business.
sponsors now.
It-
They're
but
getting
it's a-
sponsors.
No,
they're
but
getting
to
Under Armour.
register and
Oh,
everything,
yeah,
it's
to
a
do
big
all that.
business.
So it's just dope because the females are getting involved too. You get the female
Yep.
flag football players,
Yep.
and they're
Yeah,
balling.
my high school just took second in the state.
Yeah, see, and
Delahua.
it's all
What's
evolution.
Brian Monizi's daughters?
I know
the
she
quarterback?
kind of.
But even with your son, like I watch your
Hey, my
son.
dad was texting me. He's like, "Oh, how's Mo's daughter? She's balling, yeah." And I was like, "Yeah, she's supposed to be one of the best in the state." And then like an hour later, he's like,
Yeah,
"Bro,
bad game. I didn't watch it.
But even watching your son, like the way you've coached him up, like it's dope watching the coaching in the backyard and how it comes to fruition at game day.
yeah,
Like as a father, that's always what it's about.
yeah."
And I see it on your page directly. Like you have him working drills, cones, and all that. But people don't see that. It resonates to the field.
Oh yeah,
And you see him kind of going like right out the gate. So that's what I think it's always not going to be a lost thing for fathers to be involved doing that stuff with their kids. But it's always can it go to the next level? Is my son too short? Is it going to be like, you have these questions as a father, but you start looking at the Tyreek Hills and, okay, yeah, my son could do that. You know what I mean? So I always learned not to live through my kids. That was like the only advice I had because my oldest son to my second, I always was like, live through them. I wanted them to do what I missed out on. Nah, you got to do this. You got to do that. Then I was like, by my third son, I was like, nah, let the coaches
Were
do
you
what
too
they
hard
do.
on him?
Oh, I was way hard on them. I kind of took the love of the game out of it for them because I expected so
That's
much.
how I was when I was racing dirt bikes.
Yeah, I mean, and that's how all
I
fathers
actually
are.
quit. Like I quit riding dirt bikes for like
Because you
2
want
years.
the best for your kid. It's like, if you can't be the best, why are you playing?
no, and like that sport we come from is like
Highly competitive. and
no, but the injuries are huge.
Oh, yeah.
and they're trying to make you jump shit, and
Oh,
you're
they're
like,
monumental,
we're on
yeah.
like little bikes, and then my dad's like, fucking jump this fucking jump. I never spent all this money on this bike for you not to jump this
Yeah.
jump, and we're big kids, and they're
I
making
see
you
it
jump.
to this day in all sports, like football, dirt biking. Like, there's always going to be those fathers. I was one of those fathers. But can you learn from it and kind of like give, like the only advice I give to new fathers now is like, don't get them out, don't over coach them out of the game. And the only reason I say that is because we're going off Madden and NFL stuff and college stuff that we're watching on things, and now we're trying to put it to our 9-year-old, 10-year-old, 11-year-olds, and it's putting pressure on the kids. Then you're just kind of like, I don't want to do it. And that's what I kind of feel like I did that with like my older son. He was like, he's playing football. I was like, I don't want to do it. But like some of the kids he played with in high school, they're all in the league now. And I'm like, maybe I pushed too much.
Yeah, my dad. I took a 2-year break from
Yeah.
racing, and then when I came back, he was
You have
like,
to find the love
when
for
he
it
came
again.
back, and then my dad was like, really, when you race, just have fun.
Yeah.
And then my dad changed. He changed.
You'd be
And
surprised when kids hear that.
Then that's
Bro.
when I was like, okay, I don't want to disappoint my dad and do shitty in a race. So that's when when I got fast.
That's the
is when
best
he laid
advice
off.
I always give. Like, all you can tell your kids is to have fun. Because if my dad would have told me that, I don't know where I would be right
It was
now.
have fun and don't get hurt because
And do your best.
Yeah.
But like he was like, do your best. And like when you hear that from a parent, it's like you want to go extra hard. But when you hear like, why come you not doing fucking this? How come you not doing it? Now you kind of just now the wall's going up between you guys. But now you kind of get that encouragement to kind of say, look, you're not, and then don't put them down too. I find myself putting my kids down. Like, man, how come you're not fast? Like, because they got my genes. I'm not fast. You know what I mean? So we don't see all the elements that kind of go into the factor of everything. But it's like the more, when I started coaching, I was like, let's have fun. So I was like, hey guys, let's have fun. Then the parents were like, nah, we want to win. I was like, nah, I'm just here to, if you want a coach that's just going to coach to win, I'm probably not your guy. I want people to learn and have fun doing what they're doing. It's a business now, so it's a little bit different. Parents are paying $300-$400 for them to be a part of a team. Some parents are like, hey, I ain't paying this for nothing.
I remember when I
ain't paying
played
this for a
Pop. I never
participation
even
trophy.
did, when I was playing Pop Warner. It was you had the tryouts and they just cut hella
Yeah.
people.
And that's what I used to love that. Because now it's like, if you pay, you're on the team. You know what I mean? If you play and you're in the last game, you get a trophy. Everyone gets a trophy at the end of the year. I think they was talking about like participation trophy makes kids, mental kind of messed up because they feel like they didn't have to do anything to get that trophy.
Not here in Vegas. That culture has shifted. The league we were in, bro.
Yeah.
Like there were a few teams. Like we were on a team where you played.
Yeah.
There were other teams where most of the other teams you had to try out for,
Yeah.
and they would not let you play on their team, and they had like an extra like $100-something a month they wanted you to pay just to be on that club team.
Yeah.
and
Just
they
smashing everybody.
smashing
I mean,
everybody.
and it's a business at the end of the day. It's like it's different because different parents have different outlooks. Moms are going to be more scared because they don't want their kids playing tackle
Pussies.
football. Yeah. So I see people that, the flag football and everything's cool, but then when it starts to get put on the pads, it's going to be the mom. Some moms sit there and be like, oh, I don't, then you have movies like Concussion and you have movies that CTE movies. So it's with social media that in our way, it's just the way the parents at the end of the day guide their kids on what to
Bro,
do.
I always look back at it. I'm like, bro, I don't know how my parents,
Yeah.
or even in the sport that I was raised in, is I don't know how they fucking dealt with it. Because the faster you get, like when you're slow, you crash. It's road like
Yeah,
road
road
rash,
rash.
or small
Strawberries.
shit, right?
Yeah.
The faster you get, every time you crash, you break something.
Yeah.
And I don't know
So
how
it's getting worse and worse.
No, so it's like the faster you get, your skills get better.
Yeah.
But when you do crash, which you don't crash as much, but when you do, it's a broken leg, it's
Yeah.
a broken arm, you break something almost every time you crash.
How do you feel where you're at in coaching your son and seeing him play football? What do you think as far as a
I
parent?
go hard.
Yeah.
I go hard,
Yeah.
but I've asked him, and I make sure it's something that he wants.
Yeah. Got it.
So we do go really hard.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, when do you think is the earliest kids should enter tackle football?
Man, if you would have asked me this question when I was like, coach, it was like 6 wasn't too young for me. But I feel like as a father growing up, 6 is way too young.
Mhm.
Me personally, I think, and people's going to make their faces at this, 11, 12. 12 is like my starting point, only because I'd rather have them learn the game instead of hit themselves out of the game. You're going to get these bigger 10-year-olds, these bigger 8-year-olds, they're going to hit your kid, and your kid's not as big as their kid. And now your kid don't want to do it anymore. So you don't want to scare your kid out of playing football. And that's when they play tackle football. They have 5U. They have 5-year-olds playing against other 5-year-olds, and they're just going, okay, now it's fun. Like it's 6-year-olds.
They're running and it's just like,
Yeah. And they have the helmet and they're barely getting it over. So
I've seen these kids stand up from these hits,
Yeah.
with their eyes all glazed
Glazed.
over, flashing,
Bro,
bro.
I've seen it firsthand.
blinking, lost, and then the coach just yelling at them to get the back of the line. It's like, dude, what are you doing? That kid
it's
is
crazy. It's a gift and a curse. You want to see the big hit, but you want to also see what's going on. Like I seen my kid's his eyes roll in the back of his head. And I was like, damn, am I pushing him too hard? Then the coach was like, yeah, do it again. I was like, wait. Don't do it again. Don't do it again. Because I just seen this. So as a parent, you have to kind of monitor that as far as saying when's enough is enough. And I think it goes back to what age do you think is too early for your son? Like, I see your son now, like my son plays, my youngest son, he's 10, he still plays flag football. And I said, do you want to do it next year? He's like, one more year. And then I was like, why? He was like, well, because they watch these videos of these kids on TikTok hit each other. So it kind of scares them out of it. I don't want my kid to get scared out of it.
But how do you teach them like the rough side of it? Like what they're doing right now is a skill side of it, right?
By explaining to them that they're working towards that sport. You're playing flag. You played 2-hand touch before that. Flag football now. Now it's going to time to put the pads on and teach you about hitting. Flag football kids, they play both. So they're trying to hit during the flag football things. And people are getting lost in translation. So it's all a matter of trying to get the right way of your kids getting coached. Like, 10, 11-year-old, it's on them if they want to suit up. But you'll see it right away. If they're like, kind of like, okay, I don't think he's ready for that. And you want to make that decision sooner because you already paid the money for tackle football. But now you got to wait a whole season because your son's not ready. And I'm more lenient on my kids because I'm a father at the end of the day. I could be that hard. You better go hit him. Or it could be like, hey, you want to do this or not? You know what I mean? So you got to kind of see how they react off of you. There's kids that get it. There's kids going to take forever to get it. There's kids that never get it. But it's not on you. It's just kind of, you got to probe different ways to do it. Hey, did you want to be a receiver? Like when I was coaching, big kid, okay, cool, you're on the line. Oh, okay, cool, you're skinny and tall, you're a receiver. That's just because that's what I was raised on. But I didn't know that the big kid that I put on the line had a better arm than the quarterback. Maybe he was a better blocker here. So now you kind of see, hey, let's put everybody play football. And you got to sit back, okay, he got a good arm. Okay, he can hit. And then you get to sit there and kind of write down, these guys could do this. Because I was just going in, bigger kids, you're on the line, protect the smaller kids behind here, and let's go score touchdowns. And that wasn't the way to do it. When you play Madden and everything, it's like, we get brainwashed into the way we watch NFL. All the single-digit player guys are the skinnier guys. All the bigger linemen are the 90s and the 70s and the 80s are the receivers. So now it's like, now you have the baller guy wearing number 0. So they're kind of messing it all up, but like we were kind of taught that's what all these numbers meant. So now that these kids are playing 12, now they can play receiver, maybe safety, maybe quarterback, and now it's just kind of like a whole element to it. I think the kids at the end of the day is you don't want to just scare them out of having fun. Because I have fun watching. I had fun watching yours. I'm like, dude, like the games he be balling. I was like, oh, you did that in the backyard, and it came and seeing that like to overdo it, to be like if he got stopped in front of the goal line or got hawked down by another player. As a dad, you're like, damn it, my kid looked bad, so it made me look bad. No, I'm not just saying I'm saying any fathers. So the mentality is like, don't fucking do that because that's what your first instinct is. But then you got to remember, this kid's 8 years old. This kid's 9. You're not computing that. I'm trying to teach this guy like he's a 21-year-old kid and should know he got to score every time.
What's that fine line though? Because I feel like
it's a fine
there
line,
is
bro.
like a high standard you can set for a kid, and if sometimes the kids will raise to that high standard.
It's a fine line and a high standard to be as much as you know your kid better than anybody. To a gift and to a curse. Because you kind of like, okay, do I know my kid can take this?
You can push
my
him
mentality is, yeah, dude, if I was you, and that's where we do wrong at, if I was you, I would break that kid, but he's not you. I got to say, okay, remember, he's part of the mom too. Oh, the mom's a little bitch. Okay, so you got to kind of put that into the whole equation. Right. Or if the mom's a beast too, like, okay, I know your mom's a beast, I'm a beast. There's no reason you shouldn't be a beast. There's conversations that's going to be frowned upon between other parents because they wasn't raised like that. They was raised with already a silver spoon in their mouth or not. So I think the fine line is kind of see what your limits are for your kid. What kind of makes them, I don't want to do it no more. Whatever triggers that, okay, take that out of your repertoire to kind of say, maybe there's another way I could say that. Instead of having them answer, I don't want to do it no more because I feel like you're just going to keep harping on me for it.
Yeah, that's one thing I've never had the experience yet, is him not want to do anything.
Yeah.
It's always, do you want to do this? What are we doing?
Yeah.
I want to do it. We can go inside. Do you want to just go inside? We can stop working out now.
Is he saying that because he knows you get mad if he says he doesn't want to?
I'm not going to get mad if I've never like.
Normally when a dad says, I'm not going to get mad if you say that, they're normally going to get mad at us.
I've never had to say it though.
Yeah.
I've never had to say, I won't get mad. Just tell, like, what do we want to do right now? Like, I'll get super calm. What do we want to do? Do we want to work? Do we want to go inside?
What I think people don't realize too is you don't realize it until like you're the father. Like I really think there's a thin line between coaches and a father. This is your child. This is you've seen him more than the coach did. Coach only wants to see perfection. You know what I mean? I need the kid that can run the fastest. If you kind of know your kid doesn't run the fastest, you want him to kind of have that mentality. But if you know his intangibles ain't going to be the kid that runs the fastest, you could hurt him by putting him in that line of fire of him not being the fastest. Now he ran slow. All the kids are like, you're slow. Now you just killed his confidence. Now you're like, okay, no, it's cool. Fuck them kids. You know what I mean? But it was kind of you that pushed them to that limit. So I always try to test the kids' limits. Like if I would just sit back, okay, he can't really throw. You know what I mean? Hey, let's try to teach you how to throw. And you keep teaching him and he's not throwing around. Okay, he's probably a lineman. You know what I mean? So those are the things that you kind of work with your own son. Like not a lot of people have those times. Like sometimes, they're in relationships where they were with their mom all weekend. They were just with you on the weekend. So you don't have that, teaching time in between. But when you're like have the time, like I've seen Justin and you and your son have, you have the luxury of kind of saying, look, I can do this from the ground up. I'm taking you to the practices. I'm taking you to the games. Your expectations different than the person that they're playing because you want to be the best. They want to be the best. Who's going to be there at the end of the day? Our kids can have a bad day on game day. They woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Like they were on their iPad all night and there's different things that can come into play. But we want our kids to always be 100%, run full speed, get a touchdown every play. That's what our expectations are. But really, it's like this team just came out of nowhere and blew us out 40-0. But I'm over here yelling at my kid because he couldn't get a first down. But we already lost 40-0. So there's different ways, different strokes for different folks. Parenting's always different between every different parent. It goes back to background. It goes back to down to nationality. Some certain nationalities teach their kids different than other nationalities. How do I teach my kid? I always say control what you can control. I can control my kid's thing, not in a respectful way, but I can control the environment he's in and the way he thinks about the game. So I always try to say, don't worry about the next man. But when you have coaches telling your son and say, hey, not in front of everybody, he's probably not going to take well the way you're saying it. That's why I always call this not just running a softer generation, but if a coach is yelling at my son, now I'm like, fuck you yelling at my son like that for? He's a coach. You know what I mean? But like, if I know that he's doing it because of something else and the coach don't know, I'll wait till everything's done and say, hey, I don't mean to. It's always worse when a parent tries to go tell I say, my kid don't take good to yelling. I've done it before. Because maybe just give him direction instead of yelling it at him. And some coaches will take that direction and go, okay, my bad, bro, I'll do it. And some be like, oh, fuck that, his kid's never going to play again. But you got to be careful. You got to adapt to the chameleons of everything you got to deal with, from referees to other players to coaches. Because remember, these coaches are just dads that volunteered before you. You know what I mean? They're not like high school coaches that are saying, oh, let me recruit these kids. They're just the dad that said, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I saw when my son used to play baseball, I used to always volunteer for third base coach.
Yeah, T-ball. I used to do I'll do the first base.
I send everybody home. Like the chances of you making a throw from there to home is high. Everybody's going home. Hey, run. Everybody run.
But as a parent, it's always going to be different. Like age, you want to see how old they are, what the capacity of what they're getting. Like I've noticed that younger kids are smarter these days than kids back in the day because they have more resources to go to, more YouTubes, more, social media to look at. They're on their iPads all day. So, when I talk to my youngest son, he can make a CapCut video for me for one of my promotions. I'm like, how'd you do that? Oh, I just do this and that. I'm like, man, these kids are really smart these days. I wouldn't have been able to do that when I was his age, but I didn't have the resources that he has. And that kind of goes in everything in life. Whether we have resources where these kids are using them, us as parents just need to be there to guide them and direct them. We're not kind of saying, no, you got to fucking go here, which sometimes we do. But sometimes like, nah, let's go here. You want to make your son's transition to whatever they want, what's best for them in their life, as easy as you can. And that's what I do with my older kids now. I say, hey, not that I take school away from them. It's like, what are you passionate about? Okay, go learn about that on your own on YouTube and go, so we don't have to pay for these big school bills. And look, I know you guys don't frown about that one too, but passion is everything. If you know what your kid is passionate about, if it's dirt biking, cool. Give him the best dirt bike, everything that you're accessible to give him. If you want to play football, you need to do as a parent. They're your best to say, okay, he has the best cleats. Oh, what do you need? Oh, you need compression, because that's your job as a parent. Like when we don't have that, there's a disconnect. When they have to go to the mom with the new baby daddy, and he's telling him something different. Like that's what the world we're living in right now, unfortunately. But as my kid, I just gotta say, okay, whatever he said, cool. But I'm your dad. You know what I mean? This is what I kind of did from there. So it's all parenting is a mug. And parenting is not going to be, no one's going to be perfect parenting. Your parenting is going to be different than mine. Mine's going to be different than Rob's. Everyone's going to have a different way of how they raise their kids. As long as you keep them out of harm's way, I think everyone's doing their job as best as they can.
It's perfect. Always got the words of wisdom.
Come on, man.
Before we get out of your plugs, everybody, what do you got coming up, Cisco?
Western Conference Podcast. Go check that out. The merch stop. We're doing a lot of merch now. We got a lot of festivals coming up. Big Body Cisco, where you can find everything, bigbodycisco.com.
The shack next door.
Yeah, man, we're working on that. And
Boulevard
it's
Boys, Las Vegas Boulevard.
Boulevard Boys, we're right next to Honors. And I think everybody's been inquiring about spots next to us. So I think this is going to be a big thing for the Boulevard and for this.
We already got a golf simulation.
Yeah,
too.
They're about to open a golf simulator. And I think, everyone's been hitting me about the barbershop content studio. Like, everything's going to fall into place. I think it's just a matter of getting it done.
The tattoo shop.
Tattoo shop's coming. We have hopefully a liquid IV thing shop that's going to come too. So, we're building a community here, and that just coincides with everything else we're doing. You know, we got all these festivals and stuff coming up, podcasts coming up. We just got to keep it going. Content is key.
Yeah.
And as long as you're having a good time doing it, why not?
We got the motion, the wave.
Yeah.
It's killing it right now. And hopefully we got some big plans for next week, Friday. We'll put out if we get them locked in.
That'll be a good one. I was excited for that.
I don't think we should. Let's not bring it up yet.
Nah, don't jinx it. Don't jinx it.
Yeah,
Wait till it happens.
yeah.
I was really excited for that. Though.
I was
Because I
bummed.
was excited. So the Bam Tuivasa interview, that was a long time coming. Like I've always wanted to have Bam on there, and it's just timing. You know, he just happened to be in town, and you know, we made a few phone calls. Shout out Wetty, and we got him in there to talk about his Bam buds, and that's like something. You know, I was a fan of his. Like when I podcast people, I'm like a fan of theirs, but I don't want to come off as the fan girl. I want to come off as I'm knowledgeable about what you do, and the more we kind of get across. If you watch that Bam Tuivasa thing, he's having a good time. We're smoking a joint and everything. Like who could say they're doing that with a dude?
We need that Bam Bam Buds sponsorship, bud.
Yes. So we was talking about this. Shout out Bam Bam Buds. We're gonna have some things in the work coming soon.
You smoke? I never seen you smoke before.
Yeah, I'm trying to do more smoking than
Casual.
drinking.
Yeah,
Like
it's better.
I don't sit there
No
and go buy a
hangover.
dime bag on the corner or something. But
Yeah,
I'll
but-
go to a dispensary, grab some pre-rolls. You know what
You
I
don't
mean?
hit the plug up no
But
more?
There's no hangover. That's why too with the when you smoke.
No, but I've noticed I've been doing edibles lately.
oh
and
fuck, I can't do that.
I did a 15 when I thought it was a 5, and I thought I was going to die. And I watched Sinners on that. Well, that's another show. We'll talk about Sinners later.
Yeah.
Don't go watch Sinners. It's not a
I
good movie
can't do the
at
edibles,
all.
bro. I'm
But
floored.
yeah, no, edibles, I just...
Floored.
What didn't you like about Sinners?
I knew it was a vampire movie, but it was like overly a vampire movie.
It wasn't overly.
Michael B. Jordan, you can let somebody else play his brother.
What?
Jesus Christ.
Bro,
That wasn't me. Did you get that check? That
It
wasn't
took
me.
me a little while to fucking process that. I was like, what?
To put a disclaimer, that was Justin, still friends. But it wasn't, I was sitting there. Maybe it was the edible. Maybe it was the edible I took, but I sat there a few
There's a lot
times
of
asking,
black
what am I
people on
watching?
here.
Bro,
Why is all the
I was
good-
watching this fucking what the fuck is that movie with the cowboys? They're all like black, like they're all cowboys. And this is my third time watching it because I like it. It's a good
It was
movie.
on Netflix with Idris Elba. I think I know what you're talking
Yeah,
about.
then when they carved the cross in his
Yes.
forehead. This is my third time watching it because I like watching it. And then Justin goes in here and he's just sitting in here. He's watching it. And he's like, "This don't seem right." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Everybody's black cowboys on here." And I was like, "It's a
I am
good."
convinced that Justin is a
Like,
KKK member.
what is this? This is Black Wall Street?
I know. I was just like, "Bro, it's a good movie."
Black
He's
Wall
like-
Street was only around for like a decade and a half
I
in
am
Tulsa,
sure
Oklahoma.
that the Grand Wizard here is.
Then somebody was here and he was like, "No, but this is kind of like there was a town like this." And Justin researches is like, "Yeah, for only 10 years."
Yeah.
And I was just like,
I read like 10 articles over the next like 15, 20 minutes about Black Wall Street and how it got burnt down.
Yeah,
and
but the movie's good. I like watching that movie. I grew up. My dad.
Sinners wasn't a good movie.
Yeah,
for
my
me.
dad likes watching cowboy movies, so I grew up watching. So I like watching cowboy movies.
Like even Sinners had like elements of cowboys in it. Like, and it was overdone. I mean, shout out Ryan Coogler. He's from the Bay Area, but this movie for me it missed the mark for me. I think there's a lot, and everybody on Instagram talking about how good it was. Y'all lying. Maybe that's just me, but I didn't like it at all. Don't go watch Sinners. Waiting for it to come on the bootleg or watch it on Netflix.
is it? It's actually in theaters.
Something. I went to the
wow.
movies to watch it. Thank God I went to Discount Tuesdays at South Point. $6. It used to be $5, but now it's $6, and I was mad that I wasted that.
Your plugs, Raleigh.
So we just got this Sunday we got our second Sunday at the Cars and Coffee. So that's something that's been growing. We've been getting like 100 cars for the last. I think we did 2 months so far, but 100 plus cars every time. So working on that. May 31st, we got a real big one. Maybe you guys can be part of that, even though the barbershop's not open. Because that one's people's coming in from Arizona,
What's the date on that one?
California.
What's the date on
May
that one?
31st.
Yeah.
But it's Karuma and Lowballers, which is like really well-known clubs, but
Nice.
they got guys coming in from states all around. That's a really big one.
Like I just think like this whole parking lot with time and what we're doing with it. You know, we call ourselves the Boulevard Boys because we're on Las Vegas Boulevard, but I think it's something for the people that we're trying to do. And I think with Raleigh kind of taking the chance and kind of went out there and did it on his own first. Now we got Schemos. Now we have all these different businesses like the Shacks coming. And I think it's just something that we've been waiting for. That I've always seen the potential in it, but I think the potential in the roof is there's a high ceiling on what we can do. Because I think it's community based and we're all fathers. We all come from this demographic where it's going to be something good for not just for the community, but for the culture.
And it gives us a reason to be around each other more.
Yeah.
Which the creative shit comes.
yeah.
That's what it comes
Easier,
out of,
right?
I feel like, yeah.
And I think like, it's, I'm glad we like when you hit me, like Jess was like, hey, can you sit down with, Brad? And I think these are good things because I think guys need to see it's okay to talk like the shit we talk. the way we do, and I think it's just you put it in a dope perspective because of the way you edit things, and I think people don't see that where these things catch fire because we're normally putting this content out, and the more content we come, that's more like relatable and we can resonate with. People are clicking it not just more than just once. And I think these are the conversations that we had that it goes perfect with Still Friends because after all, where we disagree or don't disagree, we're still friends at the end of the day.
I told Justin that the funnest podcast we do is the ones with us four.
Yeah. And I think it's dope because it's genuine. Like there's nothing forced with us. Like, you're talking about a UFC fighter. You're talking about, we're successful in our businesses that we just come here to shoot the shit.
Like I don't even know how much times I watched the game
System.
That was his ringtone on my
I watched that fucking video I must have been at least 1,000 other views on top of that.
But it was so dope because it was so organic, right?
Yeah.
It was so like we just talking. Oh, by the way, Jordan, like, those everything that we talked about came out of us like just how it was. We wanted it to, and no one was like, oh no, well fuck them then because they think that. No, we're still friends at the end of the day because they have their opinions, we have ours. I have mine, you have yours, and at the end of the day, that's what makes content like this dope.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Any other plugs you got?
Just that right now. We got a lot of stuff coming up though, especially with Cisco being next door, and you always over here, always like we gotta do this. So it keeps everything kind of
Come on,
going.
man,
so.
you're gonna see it. We're Still Friends.
There's a new honors release every week.
New
Still
honors
Friends
release
show merch.
EDC, you got EDC coming up, so we'll have an EDC.
Yeah, and I
release
see these
this
dope
week.
hats that he got. So I'm actually going to take one because I'm
Still
about to go to
Friends
the
show
gym.
hats on the honors Brown website.
Yeah, the which one do we have on there?
The strip club veteran hats.
Strip club veterans.
Strip club veterans.
Everybody
Which
be
these
hitting up
guys
for
definitely
that.
are.
Just like and subscribe on YouTube, Still Friends Show. Follow Still Friends Show on Instagram. And check out Tacos Policy down in Henderson. That's it for me, guys.
Policy.
Appreciate you guys. See you guys next time.
Hell yeah, boys.
Perfect.